my beloved friends. It is with my heart overflowing with joy to be able to come and speak with you on this occasion. For within the last few days, a milestone was reached, something that I never really thought for sure would happen when I was walking on the earth plane. And that was that the church that I founded, the ministry that I founded to help teach people about the gifts of the Spirit, celebrated its 44th anniversary of its first service. It was my sincere wish that this organization continue after I left your earth plane. But in all honesty, I was not sure it would. For I entrusted several people to carry on, but only one did. And I am so grateful for that. And it is so important that this work is being done, not because I started it, but because of the teachings that it provides. It's so necessary in the days that are here. And so I needed to mark that occasion with my gratitude for your participation, for without you attending the services, there would be no need for a church. And therefore, it is very important that I send my appreciation and thanks to you for your continual support of the work that I started, but also for this medium who is continuing the work, and that you are supporting him. Because it is, as you know, the times are changing, and more people are going to become aware of the truth of reality of the way things were and the way things are. When I was walking on the earth plane, I did my best to teach what I was being told to teach. And I set forth every week and I said the words that I was told to say. And as I look at it now from this side, I realize that most of all that I said is true. It was true and still is true. But yet, I did not even touch the surface of what was needed to be said. I did the best I could, but it is with such joy and such happiness as I stand by and watch the medium who is speaking do the research for the book that he is working on, for he is going to levels that have been buried for so long. And the information that is going to be put forth is of such importance. It doesn't contradict at all what I said or what was said years ago. It is just a much deeper understanding. I taught, as the Spirit people taught me to teach, that God is within. Jesus came and said, the kingdom of God is within. There is no God sitting on a throne in a piece of real estate in the sky. Some of you heard me say that hundreds of times. And that is true. That is very true. But what I was not able to say and what I did not understand is that for the people who do believe that there is this man sitting on a throne in a piece of real estate in the sky, who hold that belief so strong in their being. For the Christians, they believe that man is Jesus sitting on the throne. But I can tell you, as I stated when I walked the earth plane, that Jesus did not come to save the world. He did not come to save people from sins. He came to the world with a simple message that life continues after the change called death. He proved that through his resurrection and taking his physical body into the world of spirit, that there is a life beyond what you can see in the physical world. That was his message. He also came as a way shower. He came to show that the gifts of the Spirit can be practiced by human beings. For he never really claimed he was God. He said he was the Son of Man, not the Son of God. He was a human being. He was a medium who could alter his state of consciousness. His brain worked at 100%, and he could perform each and every one of the gifts of the Spirit. That's what he came to do. And it was all the priests and the theologians who built up this myth of him being a sacrificial lamb to forgive everyone's sins in perpetuity. But that's not what it was. That was the myth. And my friends, what I didn't realize until I am watching this medium do the research that he's doing is that this myth was done by the priests in order to align themselves with political power, with power over the people, and to make the people fearful that if they did not come and put money into the collection plate, they would go into a place of eternal damnation and everlasting fires. And that is a bunch of baloney. That's a polite word. And therefore, that was all created. But the Christians aren't the originators of all this. The Jewish priests were even worse, for they created their God. That man that they put on the throne in the piece of real estate that they created, they chose him. Where did they get this God? From their neighbors, from the Canaanites. They borrowed the God's name. They created all the myths around it. But what they didn't do, they didn't create the goddess that sat with him. For you see, my friends, if you read the Bible, and from what is being researched now, the Bible is very, very, very much like Swiss cheese. But the Swiss cheese has more holes than cheese. The only cheese there is the gifts of the Spirit. That part of it is true. And almost everything else is either man-made or propaganda created by the Jewish priests to make their religion seem important. It didn't happen. It didn't happen. The founder of that religion, Abraham, listened to the voice of Spirit. That is true. He traveled to a place of mediumship, which is true. But the God that they claim he listened to isn't the person he's listened to. Think about this, my friends. I know that most of you know many mediums, not just me. You know that when I was a medium on the earth plane, my chief control was Chief Lone Eagle. He was the one who worked with me most of the time. He was my God, although I didn't use the term that way. And I didn't call him that. But in actuality, if you go into the biblical setting, he was my God. Each medium had their own spirit guide, which would have been their God. And this is why in the original Hebrew, you find all different kinds of names for God, because it wasn't one being as the propaganda was written to create. It was many, many spirits who spoke to many different mediums through the Bible. It wasn't all the same person. It wasn't all the same spirit. It was all different. And that is what the powerful message is. And that some of the spirits were not all male, some of them were female. And some people had a female goddess that worked through them. But the Hebrews didn't like that because the Hebrews wanted to control. They didn't want women to have any kind of power. They erased most of the goddess references there. And the ones they didn't erase, they disguised. They kept mistranslating and kept shifting the words. And they eliminated as much as they could from the Bible. But as the research is proving, archaeologists are finding different evidence of engraved images and engraved writings which talk about Yahweh and his Asherah, his goddess. The female is there. If you read the Bible correctly, as I'm learning, God that created the universe, well, let's talk about reality instead of the Bible, because the Bible isn't reality. The creator of the universe is energy. Now, it's true, if you think about energy, if you think about a flashlight, and you think about the batteries that go in there to make the light work, one side of that battery is labeled positive, and one side of that battery is labeled negative. In reality, souls have a polarity too. If the soul is positive, it is male. If it's negative, it's female. But think about that battery. Is one side of the battery, one pole negative and one positive? Is that good and bad? No. It's still dealing with polarity and energy. And that is why do not get confused and think that negative energy of a female makes her a bad person. It isn't. It's just energy. And both male and female energy were present when the universe was created, when man was created. And remarkably, that concept is found in the Bible even today, but it isn't stressed. God was both male and female. He created the humans in his image. He did use the word his, but his image was both male and female because he created a male and female. It states that in the book. One of the few things they got right and left alone. I remember this instrument being so upset for such a long time when he heard from Awan that the Bible had been edited and changed. That threw him into a tizzy for a very, very, very long time. And he is just discovering that all the turmoil he went through so many years ago is just the beginning. It's just scratching the surface because there are so much more that has been edited and changed for malicious reasons of the priests and the religions they wanted to set up. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Very simply, because so many of you are going to be teachers to the people in the future, because you have been studying knowledge, you have been studying spirituality, you have been studying the truth. And when religions crumble, and people start to realize there's no Santa Claus out there. There's no person to forgive their sins. There's no person to pray to when someone is sick. Someone out there who's going to fix everything and make everything wonderful. It doesn't exist. Now, think about this. If a person prays to their God really hard and strong, with very strong intent, they can create a situation where the person can be healed, but they are doing it themselves, not some mythical being someplace. They are creating that situation. So it is not necessarily incorrect that the person can't be healed because of the person's prayer to a misdirected God. But if they were to direct their prayers inward, and if they would learn how to transmit healing energy through their own hands, they would have a much better opportunity to heal the person that they are praying over and praying for. And this is the lost opportunity because of the way religions have taught things. So, my friends, what I want you to prepare yourselves for is for that when people become aware that they have been lied to and the God that they've been praying to does not exist, and that the God exists within them, they are also going to need to find out how to communicate with that God, which have awareness of. And they will also need some guidance in calming down, just as this instrument needed calming down when he learned that the Bible was edited. It is going to be extremely, extremely traumatic for some people. It will be a blink of an eye to others, all depending on their spiritual understanding. So I wanted to share this with you because I myself have been amazed at what information is being uncovered, and information that I had no awareness of. And as I said, it isn't contradicting anything I taught or anything this medium has taught over the years. It is just deepening it to a depth that is 60 times greater than what was ever thought about before. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. It is it is such a pleasure for me to be able to come through and talk with you, to share these thoughts, these views, to share some guidance with you from time to time. And I am so overwhelmed that the foundation I laid so many years ago is still being followed. So with that, I'm going to bring my talk to a close.